Live on Facebook, just hang tight on the 23rd. Saying on live anywhere is right now, so let's try.
Or video.
You lost the clerk. Okay, just real quick before you begin, just please be aware, try to keep your microphones off when you're not talking. A few times there we have about 5 microphones.
Okay, the school committee is back in session. Do not know where, we had a little technical difficulty. Don't know where we lost the feed. Madam Superintendent, Ms. Parker.
Real quick, so people understand what happened. Using Zoom, they limit you to 4-hour sessions. Because of the lively spirited conversation tonight, our session ran out, hence everything went off. So that's why it has nothing to do with the quality of the production or the team, what's going on. So we're back live on Zoom. We got another 4 hours. Hang in there with us.
Right.
Thank you.
This was that was like intermission. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Parker. Thank you. Back again. Madam Superintendent, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I just want to state, that the EPS and the city of Everett are moving on to better things. And it is my job to advocate for our students as strongly as I can, even if that means having fair and respectful disagreements between us and City Hall. My position demands that I have thick skin, and Mayor, I know you said that yours demands the same. And I understand that the questioning works both ways and that I am not above the questioning myself either, and I invite it. I just want to create a transparent environment in which our residents can see both the EPS side of things as clearly as they can the cities. And just as importantly, I do not want to see any changes that disrupt, even unintentionally, the work that we are doing together. I work for you, the elected members of this body. You hired me. You will review my performance and you will assess me on my merits. In less than a year, I believe that we have cultivated an atmosphere where we speak honestly, thoughtfully, and strategically about the myriad of issues and concerns that are confronting us both in the short term and the long term. And I'm just strongly requesting that the City Council not interrupt this work, and not to use this, as a matter of power or influence, but simply, to maintain as is a way of maintaining checks and balances. This year marks the 100th year anniversary of women's rights to vote. And of course, 100 years later, women are still facing discrimination and are still being silenced. And I'm incredibly proud that this is a city that went from having 1 female on the school committee to having 4. I'm incredibly proud that I was unanimously voted into this role by the previous committee, which only included 1 female. And I'm grateful that because of those who came before me and those who sit beside me, I'm allowed the opportunity to voice my opposition to a measure that I don't believe provides meaningful benefits to our students and families, while knowing that others in this room may have different opinions and that they will respect my opinion as I respect theirs. As I was mentioning, tomorrow we will cast votes that determine the direction of our country, both for the next 4 years and for the future. And next Monday, if it makes its way to the agenda, our city councilors will be casting a vote that permanently and profoundly changes the makeup of this committee. And I just ask that when the councilors make their vote, they are asking themselves who they are doing this for. Are they voting in the best interest of the students and families of this city for whom they were elected to give a voice. For the greater populace who may not look like them or think like them or have the same backgrounds, experiences, or opportunities as them? Or are they making this vote based on themselves and their own interests? I implore that when they make their vote, they are doing it based on research and understanding of the implications of their decisions on students and families. Like I said, I'm still struggling with where we have articulated how this benefits them. And if they are unable to articulate how this benefits the people they are impacting, then they should be allowing those who will be impacted a voice and a vote on this subject. And this question should be placed on the ballot. I would like for us to remember the follies of our history and not deny voting rights and democracy to those who often stand on our sidelines and just watch as a select few make their decisions for them.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent.
So, Mr. Chairman, I call for the question. We do have a
We do have a
motion before
motion.
us to
We have a
refer
motion.
the matter to the City Council President, copying the mayor's office, asking them to refer this matter to the Committee on Legislative Affairs and allow an opportunity for some dialogue and some conversation.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please, on this. We've lost a few members with our late evening here.
Mr. Barrows? Yes. Ms. Cardello? Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi? Yes. Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Steiny? Mr. Apizay?
Yes, 6 in the affirmative, motion passes. I'd like to thank the clerk for attending tonight. He had to leave also. He's got a busy day tomorrow.
All right, I'll make a motion to revert back to our regular order of business, which will be item number 2 under Roman numeral 6.
May I have a second? Motion made and seconded to refer back to the regular course of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Roman numeral 6, item 2, presentation of District of Equality Project and acceptance of donation of up to 170 books for EPS middle schoolers. Mr. Barrows.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an amazing, and I'm glad that we are now going to talk about this topic because that's the reason that we are actually here, and that's the reason why we are school committee members. Unfortunately, because we've had a long meeting, longer than the usual, the students who are going to speak, or I should say the former students, are no longer online to speak. But I'm going to present as I was planning to and request this body to accept their donation. So Haley Peloquin attended the Hale School and then the Lafayette and graduated from Everett High class of 2014. Jada attended the Caverian and graduated from Everett High class of 2016. So the amazing thing is that, as it happens with many of our students, they graduate from Everett High, but they do not forget their school, their classmates, and those that they left behind. So Haley and Jada found a nonprofit organization called District of Equality. And District of Equality, it's an Everett-based nonprofit that strives to provide an open platform for community members to discuss their experiences with injustice in our country, as well as educate, communicate, and raise money for local charities. So the organizations focus primarily on spreading education and promoting conversations about all injustice in the country, especially now during the current health crisis. So their first fundraising, they team up with a few friends who found another small business in Everett called Southside Skincare. And her friends all graduated also from Everett High. And they designed a custom soap line called Sage and Solidarity, which 100% of the proceeds from this line went to a charity pool to buy books to promote inclusivity to Everett students. So after selling the soaps, they raised near $900 with the sales and outside donations. And guess what they're doing? They are buying up to 280 books to donate to Everett middle schoolers. Those are all books that were, most of the titles sent to our schools, and all those books promote race equity, equality, diversity, racial justice, and other important topics. And they will be teaming up with our staff, and they will be distributing those books to our middle schoolers in some of our learning centers, especially the schools where they graduated from. And that's gonna happen this month as part of the National Family Literacy Month. So I just wanna not only comment, I'm proud to sponsor this item on the agenda, and very thankful that they took this initiative, they reached out to us, and they decided to do this for those that they believe sometimes do not have a chance as the chance that they had. So with that, I'll ask my colleagues to make a motion, formal motion to accept this donation, the donation of these books, thanks to these two students, Haley, Jada, and also the other students who founded the other nonprofit, Southside Skincare.
Motion made and seconded to accept this donation with a letter of thanks, Mr. Barros, also?
Yes, that would be great. And I'll send a letter of thanks on behalf of the committee.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Barros.
Thank you.
Item number 3, request to extend an invitation to our community organization leaders from various ones to provide feedback and success stories from their families regarding remote learning and moving forward. Ms. Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to refer this to the Subcommittee on Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity to give the opportunity for our community organizations that represent families from across our city to share with us not just what we're doing well, but what we can do better, communication strategies, and just to give them the opportunity to have voice at our meetings.
Refer this matter to the Subcommittee on Equity. To refer this matter to the Subcommittee on Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Roman numeral 7, Subcommittee report. Subcommittee on Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity. Mr. Barros.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just want to give a report, and this is for informational purposes. There is no recommendation report for a vote tonight for this body, but the first meeting of the Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity Subcommittee happened. Was me, along with my colleagues, Ms. Murray and Ms. Lambert. And we had a terrific meeting that we thought that was actually going to be fast, but it went long, which was terrific. The superintendent came, the principal, the vice principal of the high school. I think we have other educators who attended as well, and administrators. And first we had a presentation by some of our great students who graduated from Everett High, who provided us recommendation on things that we should improve as a school to provide more equity and inclusion on our programs. So the committee heard their recommendations, some of their recommendations, they had many, which was terrific. And then the subcommittee discussed some change to our student handbooks, both for the high school and the middle schools. Some change proposed by Ms. Lambert, also by Ms. Murray. And we are right now working with the administration to update those handbooks so we can, in a later meeting, refer this for a final approval by this board, by the full body. So just for information purposes, we, as I said, we are working with the administration, and we will get back, bring this back in order to move for a full vote.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Barros. Roman numeral 8, bills and payrolls. Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Joe. The grand total amount for all bills is $763,496.04. I'd like to make a motion to approve bills and payrolls in the amount of $763,496.04.
Motion been made and seconded to approve bills and payrolls in the amount of $763,496.04. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to pay bills and payrolls in the amount of $763,496.04. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows,
Yes.
Ms. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Armstead.
Yes, 6 in the affirmative, motion passes. Roman numeral 9, unfinished business, 2020 MASC resolutions. Mr. Parker.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, as we stated before, Mass Associates School Committee has a annual conference held down in Hyannis. This year it's being held virtually. And, you know, it was the privilege of this body electing me as the delegate. And as a reminder, Mr. Barros is the alternating delegate. So if something should happen between now and Saturday, you got to step up. So pay attention. So I think the actual day starts about 9:45, and that there's a online Zoom presentation, and it's available for all members. In fact, anybody. If you go to the MSHC website, you'll see that, and you can register and you can participate in the Zoom presentation. Keynote speakers, actually Charlie Lyons, who we know well, is one of the keynote speakers. That I said the name right, Mr. Prisky. Right? Okay. And then at 1 o'clock, the voting starts on the resolution. So therefore, what I'm hoping to do is you know, I'll state the resolution. I'll finish this with the therefore, so the public knows what we're voting on, and we'll just take a roll call vote on each one. And whatever majority vote is, that's how I'll vote on Saturday. So if anybody's got any comments or questions on the resolution when it comes up, please feel free to ask. And with that, if we can move forward. So you could vote either yes, no, or abstain. Normally, you know, we don't allow you to abstain from a vote. but that's one of the three choices. So we can reflect that. So the first one is to elect the president-elect. There's two candidates. There's Deborah Davis and Andrea Wadsworth. So if we could roll call vote, just tell me if you want Ms. Davis or Ms. Wadsworth.
Mr. Barrows,
Ms. Davis.
Ms. Murray,
Ms. Davis.
Ms. Lambert,
Ms. Wadsworth,
Mr. Panarisi,
Ms. Davis.
Mr. Parker,
Deborah Davis,
Mr. Abraze.
Ms. Davis.
okay, thank you. 5 votes for Ms. Davis, 1 for Mr. Wadsworth. I'll be voting, reflecting your vote of, on Deborah Davis. So it's getting late, move on. So resolution number 1, MCAS and high stakes testing. Therefore, be it resolved that MCAS rejects the calls for the students of 2022 who missed their 10th grade MCAS testing to be required to make it up during the 2021 school year or ever. We demand those students be held harmless for not taking the MCAS and that their graduation requirements shall be determined by local controlled voices of the school committee and school administration within the remaining graduation requirements of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Additionally, we reiterate our call for a moratorium on all high-stakes testing for the 2021 school year so all students can benefit from their time being focused on direct instruction, and we urge the legislation to enact a moratorium on high-stakes testing of 3 years. Anybody like to add any comment before we vote? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows. Yes. Ms. Cardinello. Ms. Murray,
Resounding yes.
Ms. Lambert,
yes.
Mr. Panarisi. Yes. Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. 6 yeas, 0 nays. We'll vote in favor of resolution 1. Resolution 2, COVID-19 state funding. Therefore, be it resolved that the state must guarantee every school district full reimbursement for whatever COVID-19 expenses are required to follow state mandates. We must ensure a statewide school reopening that is safe, responsible, and equitable. There can be no unfunded mandates for COVID-19. You like that? Any comment? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows,
Yes.
Ms. Murray,
Sorry, my thing stuck. Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Abraze.
Yes.
Okay, 6 yeas, 0 nays. Resolution number 3, school committee anti-racism resolution as submitted by the MASC Board of Directors. Therefore, be it resolved that all school districts in the Commonwealth should guarantee that racist practices are eradicated and diversity, equity, inclusion is embedded in practice for our students, families, faculty, and staff. School committee members should ensure that school culture and that of every district in the Commonwealth is anti-racist and that acknowledges that all lives cannot matter until Black lives matter. Kind of repetitious. We passed our own resolution on this, but a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows,
Yes.
Ms. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi.
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays. We have moved on to resolution number 5. Supporting increased federal support and stimulus funding for public K-12 education, also submitted by the MSC Board of Directors. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mass Association of School Committees align with state superintendents of schools and urge the Massachusetts congressional delegation and state legislators to advocate for and approve additional education funding for our nation's public schools through the enactment of progressive tax legislation. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows,
Yes.
Ms. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays. I'm sorry? That's number 7. No, wait a minute. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I missed something? Oh, good point. Yes, I did miss that. Thank you. Okay. Resolution number 4, lowering the voting age for municipal elections, submitted by the Mass Board of Directors. Actually, this was submitted to the MASC Board of Directors at the request of the Amherst Student Government. So resolution number 4, lowering the voting age for municipal elections. Therefore, be it resolved that the sponsors call upon the Massachusetts Legislature to pass the Empower Act and take other means necessary to allow cities and towns to establish a minimum voting age of 16 years for all municipal elections. Anybody have any comment? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows,
Yes.
Ms. Murray,
Abstain.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi,
Abstain.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
No.
Okay, motion passes 3 to 1 to 2. Resolution number 6, retention of Medicaid revenue, submitted by MASC Board of Directors. Therefore, be it resolved that MASC urges the General Court to require that 100% of Medicaid reimbursements to cities and towns be provided in full amount to the public schools of each municipality through a school district revolving account to underwrite the cost of providing an adequate education. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows,
Yes.
Ms. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 6 to 0. Resolution 7, attempts by U.S. DOE to direct funding to private schools. Therefore, be it resolved, MASC petition the Attorney General of Massachusetts to review and recommend to the Executive Office of Education, the Mass Department of Elementary Education, to review the formal language of such statutes that determine the distribution of federal funds to benefit economically disadvantaged students, and further, that the Attorney General provide legal guidance to state agencies in Massachusetts to implement such formulas based on the actual language and legislative intent of the statute, should that be in variance with any advisory issue by the United States Secretary of Education. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows,
Yes.
Ms. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays. Resolution number 8, membership of a school committee member on the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. Therefore, be it resolved that MASC submit to the general court proposed legislation that Mass General Law, Chapter 15, Section E be revised as follows. Section 1E, there shall be in the department a board of elementary and secondary education. In this chapter called the board, which shall consist of the chairman of the Student Advisory Council established under this section, the Secretary of Education, in this chapter called the Secretary of her designee, and 9 members appointed by the governor. The 9 members appointed by the governor shall consist of 1 representative of a labor organization selected by the governor from a list of 3 nominees provided by the Mass State Labor Council, AFL-CIO, 1 representative of business or industry selected by the governor with a demonstrated commitment to education, 1 representative, a parent of school children selected by the governor from a list of 3 nominees provided by the Massachusetts Parent Teachers Association, and 1 representative from a school committee from a list of 3 nominees provided by the School Association of School Committees, and 5 additional members. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows.
Yes.
Ms. Murray.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert.
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
Okay, 2 more. Resolution 9, providing equity for sexual orientation, LGBTQ plus students, teachers, and staff. Therefore, be it resolved that MASC file legislation and petition our federal legislative delegation to also file legislation which would have the effect of adding sexual orientation and gender identity to the list of protected classes in order to provide equity and support to our LGBTQ plus students, teachers, and staff, and petition our legislative delegation. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows.
Yes.
Ms. Murray.
Yep.
Ms. Lambert.
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
Okay, and thank you. Number 10, the last one, relative to the monitoring of the attendance of students during the pandemic. Therefore, be it resolved that MASC advocate for legislation and regulation that protects the rights of parents to withhold their children from school for reasons of their health status or health risk, and further. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barrows.
Yes.
Ms. Murray.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert.
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you for your time on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Thank you. No new business, no hearings. Matters for executive session, Roman numeral 12. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Parker?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move to executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A3. And I also make, as part of this motion, that we will adjourn in executive session. It will not reconvene in a public setting for a public meeting.
Second?
Okay, motion was made and seconded. Gotcha. Motion been made and seconded to go into executive session and not to return, that we will actually adjourn from executive session. Roll call vote, please, Addie.
Mr. Barrows.
Yes.
Ms. Murray.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert.
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Abraze.
Yes. 6 in the affirmative. Motion passes. School committee is now going into executive session.
One.